there, it's Carol with Carol B. Crafts. Today we'll be making card number 2 in my Carols of Christmas online class. Now this class will be available through December 3rd, 2017, and it can be purchased or it can be given to you as a gift from me when you purchase $60 retail using the current host code on my blog, www.carolbcrafts.com. Now, I will send you all of the kits, the paper and pre-cut die cuts and everything, but you will need to have the Carols of Christmas stamp set, and you won't have to have the dies because I pre-cut everything for you, but it is sold as a bundle with the card front builder thinlits, and I use those thinlits to make the trees and the little deer. These are the thinlits that I used to make those. And then the square is made with layering squares framelits, and I'll have a video section at the end of this video showing you how to do that if you'd like to make more cards like this, or if you're just watching and you don't have the kit, you can still make the card if you have the dies and the stamps that you need. So let's get started making our card. So this kit comes with a envelope, and everything's in there together for you. I even put the small pieces in a tiny plastic bag so nothing gets lost, hopefully. It won't get lost until it's out of the bag, and then I make no promises after that. Okay, so that's all our little things. And then separately you'll get your little glue dots too that I include in your class materials. So we have some trees here. If this is the second class card you've made, if you made the first card already, you kind of know how this framing works. These are what we're going to stamp on, these smaller pieces of Whisper White. They are 3 3/8 by 3 3/8. That's where we'll do our piece on the earth stamping. This is our back panel. It's 4 by 5 1/4, and so that's how that goes. And let's go ahead and fold our basic, oh, there's the envelope. Let's go ahead and fold our thick Whisper White cardstock and crease our fold. I like this part. It's always the easiest part of the whole card. But the other part's fun too. It's just, that's the easy part. Okay, so we have our card base, so we'll set that aside for now. We got a little work to do. Now I'll have a video at the end of an instruction at the end of the video on how I made these windows, and for those who don't have the class, or if you'd like to make more, at the end, so that we don't have to go through all of it every single video, and that gets a little tedious. So I just checked my video. I don't know how close up I was. I hope I wasn't so close up that you couldn't see anything. So let's go ahead and, well, let's do our stamping first. We'll get that out of the way because that's the part that's going to be a little bit scary. I say scary, but it's not scary. It's just like, ooh, I hope I don't mess up. Okay, so we're going to use the Peace on Earth stamp from the Carols of Christmas. I have it on a D block, and this is a little bit of a scarier stamp because it has surface, but then it also has detail. So the trick is you have to get enough ink to have a solid print when you stamp, but not so much ink that you wipe out the detail, and it's a little tricky. That's why I say it could be a little scary. So we're going to use Old Olive ink. Now my Old Olive must be a little dry, I think. So your experience may be different. I ordered a refill. I should have got a refill when I got the ink, but I think I ordered them as a set, so I didn't. Okay, now definitely going to need a Stamp-A-Majig for this. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We'll go ahead and put this down in the middle as straight as you can. You can always kind of adjust it once you get it underneath the cardstock frame. So it doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle, but you do want to get it as close to that as you can. I'm giving it plenty of time to soak up that ink, and then I'll lift it up and we'll see what we have. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I do see some like spots in there that need to be filled in. So I'm going to do it again. And then I'm going to put it in my Stampin' Majig in the corner and go straight down as I can. And hopefully we'll see what we got. Hopefully we'll get it right the first time. Okay, that looks good enough. That A probably could use a little help. Maybe I'll get some just on the A. It's kind of hard to do though, to just get it on one letter. Okay, A, let's see what you got. It goes straight down. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that because I'm going to leave well enough alone. Alright, so let me clean off my stamp. So just to show you, this is one that has dried, and this is one that is still in the drying process. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it out and use this one while this one dries. And like I said, this is 3 by 3 1/8 inch square. So if you wanted to go ahead and make several of these up in the old olive at one time and give them a chance to dry before you use them, you could do that as well. So now we're ready to build our card. We'll start out with the old olive frame. That's going to be on the bottom. As you can see, it's a smaller one. So it's going to be on the bottom, and this is going to look very familiar because this is what we did in the first video. This is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and we're going to do 1/4 of an inch from the inside square. We're going to put our glue dots, smears, and then we're going to lay on top of that the white, and they're the same size, but they don't necessarily have to match on the edge. What you really want to make sure matches is you want an even edge all around the center. So it's about 1/8 of an inch, and so we're going to move it around. Thankfully the glue will let us do that till we find that it looks good, and that looks good. Now I'm going to smash it down. So, and you can see this is a little bit off. That's fine. We're not worried about the edge. We're worried about the inside. That's our wiggle room. So we can have it sticking over the edge. Next, we're going to put on the DSP, and this is going to be put on with glue as well. So we'll basically do the exact same thing. And I forgot to tell you that this is Merry Little Christmas DSP from Stampin' Up. So I'll put that number on the screen if I remember to when I edit it. Hopefully I will. But you can always search. There's a search feature on StampinUp.com. All you have to do is in the search feature put in what you want. Like you could put in Merry Little Christmas. And it will come up, or you could search the DSP as well. Okay, so now this is ready to go on top of here, and we're going to put our glue on the back of this. Rather than putting it on here, we're going to put it on the back, just around the square, 1/4 of an inch. But we're not going to put any down here this time. We're just going to put this here. And we want to center it so that it looks nice, just about where you think it would look good. It's to your preference. where you think it looks like it looks right. And then we'll just press it down. There's no ribbon on this, so it's ready to go onto the back of our 4 by 5 1/4 old olive. So I will put that on with some snail adhesive. Let me get my snail out here. And you know me, I'm never skimpy with my snail because I want it to stay on. And I will use my waxy strip, and that creates a barrier between the sticky and my cardstock below, so it gives me a little wiggle room to put this on. There's just a 1/16 of an inch between the edge and the DSP, and that looks about right. That looks good enough. Well, yeah, it's hard to tell when you have old olive on top of old olive. It's really kind of hard to tell if you have it right, but it's right. And I forgot to do the stamping of the middle. I was so glad to get my Peace on Earth done correctly without messing up that I forgot to stamp the inside sentiment. So I'm going to use Christmas Wishes from Across the Miles, and you can use whatever you have or whatever you like. I'm going to put that on a D block, and I will use the, let's see, what did I use? Old Olive ink. Oh, let me see. I think so. Yeah, I used Old Olive ink for continuity there, and it is photopolymer, so I'll need my mat again and my ink, and get my stamp ink, my stamp inked up. Get my ink stamped up. Alright, and it's going to go right there. Now I'm just going to stick my Stamp-A-Majig in place just in case I didn't get a good image. But I did, so that's good. I just like to have that insurance just in case. Alright, so now we have this stamped, and I'll put my ink away. We're ready to put on our front, but I can see how that's sticking up. That's not going to work. I need to crease that fold some more. Otherwise, when I go to put the front on, it's going to be difficult. So make sure it's opening in the right direction. Definitely want that. And I'll get my snail. And my waxy strip, and we're ready to put this on the front. And this has 1/8 of an inch all around, and that looks good right there. Alright, now we're ready to decorate the front. Now these trees are in shimmery white cardstock. I believe it's called shimmery. I'll put it on the screen as well. I wanted them to have a little bit of a shimmer, but at the same time there wasn't enough shimmer, so I got out my clear Wink of Stella pen because I wanted to be able to put some more shimmer on the tops and on the deer. So these trees are the ones from the dies that I showed you, but I cut them down because the dies, the trees, if I use the size from the die, they were too big. They would have stuck out like that, and it would have covered up some of my, I mean, you might like that. If you do, then that's fine. But I cut mine down, and I'll show you at the end of the video how and where I cut them. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the black background so it'll be easier for you to see. Now I didn't want the trees just floating there, so I wanted to make like a little bit of a ground for them. So that's why you have this, it's 3/4 by looks like 3 7/8. So 3 7/8 by 3/4. It's about the same width as your DSP. Now ground isn't flat, so I'm going to start here about kind of a little above the middle, and I'm just going to make like a little hill in the center where my tree can be on, and then I'm going to go towards this corner. So I have something like that, and that's going to be their ground. And I'm going to put that on with some glue. And I'm not going to put it right at the bottom. There's going to be just a little bit of a 1/16 of an inch there, a difference from the edge. But you could put it all the way to the bottom if you wanted. I just wanted a little more dimension. Now with our glue dots, we're going to put these on. I'll put a couple on this, and if any of them show, you can tuck them under. So that's going to go about right there. And I want to leave this away from the base because I want it to have a little dimension and a little shadow so that it looks actually like it's kind of sticking up. Now the smallest tree is going to go at the top of the hill. We'll put that on. I'm actually going to put 2 glue dots on top of each other because of the difference in the height of the paper and the cardstock hill. So that's going to be on our hill. And then these 2 go in the corner right here. We'll put this one on first. Put 2 near the bottom. And it's going to go about right here. And then I'll do the same with this one. Put a couple of glue dots on it near the bottom half. And put it over this one like that. And let's see if I can hide that bottom one there. Okay. So now all we need to do is put our little deer on. We'll put one on his bottom and one on his or her chest. And again, if it sticks out, just take your fingers and tuck it under. See if I can get it off. It really wants to stick. I think again I'll put 2 just for dimension because of the difference of distance between the DSP and the cardstock. That gives it a little bit more dimension. So I have stacked 2 of them together on each side, and this is going to go about right here. Okay, so there's our little deer. Okay, and the last thing is our star, which is going to go about right here. And turn it around. There. Okay, we are done with this card. This is number 2 in my online Carols of Christmas online class. And so stay tuned if you want to see how to do the windows and how I made the trees. Just stay tuned for that, and I'll see you for the next card, number 3. Thanks for watching. Bye now. Okay, I'm going to show you how I did the windows for the card. Now the old olive, 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. The Whisper White, 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, the same size. And then the DSP that we're going to use is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I'm going to use this video for 3 of the cards, so the DSP might look different, but it's the same process. Now the three largest dies in the layering squares framelets are what we're going to use, and we're going to use the largest die on the first DSP on the largest piece of paper, and we'll just put that down. And I'm using the magnetic plate, which makes it really easy to do this, but you can also use washi tape or regular tape to hold your die in place if you need to. So this is the top, and what we want is even spacing on all sides, and that looks about right to me. So I'm going to put my tape here on the metal and on the inside, not on the outside, because it will ruin your paper. Now, so we have magnetic plate, plastic plate, and then our die, and now we're going to put another plastic plate on and run this through the Big Shot. And then we can just tear this away like that, and we're done with this die. Now we're going to take the Whisper White, which is the next layer. As you can see, the Whisper White. Get our plate back here, and we want to put this so that it's even spacing along all sides here, and we'll hold that in place and then lay it down like that. Now we're going to take the medium, or the middle, second largest layering square framelit and put it inside that square. Now if you don't have the magnetic platform, you can use tape. You can use washi tape or regular tape. I'm just going to use regular tape, being careful not to get any on the paper. Now I can remove this, and I'm ready to run that through. So we're going to go ahead and run this through. Now it might look a little off, but that's okay, because we do have a little bit of wiggle room on the sides. It looks like there might be a little bit more on one side here than on the other. So then the next thing we're going to do is do the Old Olive layer, and those are the same size. So we're just going to lay this down like here on this top of our acrylic plate. Get the smallest square of the three that we're working with, and do the same thing. We're going to just put that down right there, and this time I'm not going to use any tape because I do have the magnetic. So I'm just going to hold that in place while I pick this up, and now I'm going to straighten that up just a little bit because it's kind of cockeyed, I can see. Okay, and now I'm going to put this plate on top and run it through. And you'll see that we have all three pieces here. We have the Old Olive, and there's a little bit of a frame that goes towards the front, and then we have the white, and we have the Old Olive, the DSP. So you do see you do have a little bit of wiggle room. If it's off a little bit, you still have some wiggle room, and even if it sticks over the edge like this when you're done, you can always just cut that. If you're off that much, you can always cut it. What's important is that the center, you have even spacing in the center when you put it on your card. So that's how you make the window. And like I said, same process for all three cards, so I won't be doing this video 3 times. I'll just post this to the end of each of the videos that does a card like this. Okay, I wanted to show you also how I did the trees. Now this is a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 piece of the shimmery white cardstock, and I'm going to put these dies here from the Card Front Builder dies, and I'm going to run them through my Big Shot. this. And then you'll see what we have. I can move my Big Shot out of the way now. Okay, so now we have the little, the white. I put the white on black background because I knew you wouldn't see it against the white background. And I forgot to tell you, this little deer, if you want to make it so that it's, when you turn it over, it might be a little like curved on the edges because the Big Shot cuts from the front. What you'll need to do, you'll need to get your Big Shot out and put a piece of paper underneath and a piece of paper above the little deer, and then run it through your Big Shot like this. And what that does is it will flatten it out so that you don't have the curves on the reverse side, so it makes it look more flat and more attractive. Okay, so I had to cut these trees down to get them to fit on the card. And so I'll look at this card here and tell you where I cut it. Now these two trees, I actually should have cut one more tree of the big tree, so let me do that. You'll actually need two of these, so sorry, I'll have to cut another one of these. Okay, so I cut another one, and I apologize for that. I am trying to get all these videos done for the class, and I am rushing through, and I probably shouldn't be rushing through. So, so here we have now two of the big trees, and then the two smaller trees. Now these two smaller trees, we're going to go ahead and cut those in half with our scissors right here. My paper's moving. Cut it straight in the middle like that. Okay, so that's going to be the big tree here, the little tree there. And then we have these two big trees. So our little deer, we can move that one aside. So this tree is that tree, this tree is that tree, this tree is this one, and this tree is that one. So we'll go ahead and cut these. Now the way I remember where to cut them is I count where I need to cut. Okay, so what I'm going to do is count the tips, and you can see there's a couple of funny looking tips, and then there's a third tip here. I don't count the little one, so it's 1, 2, 3. That's where I want to cut, right here. And you try to follow the lines of this down here, kind of like a curve, slightly curved. Okay, so now we have that tree. Now this tree has to be cut like that one. So we're going to, instead of cutting on the third little 1, 2, 3, we're going to cut on the second one. 1, 2. And then we're going to come down here below that and cut. Okay, now we have that tree. Now this one is a little bit easier. This one we count up from the bottom, and it's 1, 2 from the bottom here, and we're going to cut, kind of follow the curve down from the bottom. And then this one is just let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 5. So it's 1, 2, and then under the third one there we're going to cut. You just kind of have to figure it out, what you think looks best, what you think looks good, and go with it. If it's too tall, you could start out small and then work your way up till it looks to where you want it to look. Okay, so that's how we got the deer and the trees.